things that you've taken out of writing the book that have really maybe helped you explore some of the more exciting achievements that you've, been able to accomplish throughout your life? Was it nice to reflect on that through the process of publishing that book, and kind of what do you look back on as the best moments that you reflect back on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any one kind of moment. I think every achievement should be celebrated. I think when you're, when you're facing such when you're facing a label from a young age, any way of negating that label is a win. So I don't think we should kind of mark big achievements and be like, well, that was a turning point. Me just waking up sometimes when I'm in pain and, tidying the house, I get the most fulfillment from, like my independence is the biggest thing for me. I kind of give myself pats on the back quite frequently. But I guess one thing that was a turning point was becoming a trustee for the Brittle Bone Society. And up until that point, so this is in 2010, up until that point, although I really felt comfortable in my own skin to a point, we all have bad days. I didn't actually associate with anyone else who was disabled. That was my internalized ableism very much, playing out there. I was a bit like, well, I like me, but I'm not like them, like they're them. And I was feeding into all the harmful stereotypes that we saw throughout society. And then, at the time I was doing my postgrad, I was training to be a teacher, and it was around Christmas time, and I had to go to Sheffield, which is where my specialist hospital is, just for like a routine every 6 months. You go for your routine checkup. And in a hospital, I would say would be the only time that I would come face to face with other people who looked like me or had the same condition as me. And I remember on the way home, I had to get a train. I was with my mum, and there was like delays on the train or cancellations. And I remember it was the department. I was working in a like training in a school, and it was a Christmas dinner. And I really, really, really wanted to get back for this Christmas dinner because I really fancied there was a French TA working in the school, and I had the biggest crush on him. And I was like, I need to get back to this party. And I knew, and I mentioned this earlier, that the trains only have very limited spaces for wheelchair users. And I knew that if the trains were cancelled, then I would, potentially, have to wait for
It's the
hours.
opportunity. Yeah.
So yeah, so I quickly dashed to the I don't know what you call them, the person on the train track, I don't know, I've
The
lost the word.
the direct
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah,
yep.
yeah. Anyhow,
The conductor, the
yeah,
conductor. I don't know.
conductor. Sorry, the
Yeah.
conductor. And I grabbed him quickly, and I went, I need to get on the train. And at the same time, another woman who clearly had the same condition as me, she was there as well. And we were both like, we need to get on this train. And we kind of like bullied this conductor. And he was like, okay, okay. So he kind of shoved us on this train, but we were right next to the toilet. So we weren't in the allocated wheelchair space. It was kind of like the in between bit. But we were just both grateful that we were on the train. And I kind of had a girl crush on her. She was a bit of a punk rocker. She had piercings and bright red lips, and she had fishnet tights, and she actually had like a can of beer in her hand. And I just kind of fell in love with her because she completely dispelled all the ideas I had in my own mind about what disability should look like.
Yeah.
And she was stood next to this really attractive guy. And it's so funny because I can clearly remember me thinking, that can't be her boyfriend. And that's my internalized ableism playing out again. And because I assumed that, being disabled means you're undateable, you're not attractive. And we got chatting, and she was like, I really like your vibe. And I was like, I really like your vibe, I think you're great. And she went, look, I'm a trustee for the Brittle Bone Society. She went, and we're looking for a new trustee. And I think you would be great. You're exactly what we need, like what other people with brittle bones need. And after we exchanged details and we stayed in contact, and then a few months later, I went to the first annual general meeting that I'd ever been to of the Brittle Bone Society. I put my name up for trustee, and I became trustee, and I was there for 6 years. And in that time, I met so many people that looked like me, that had my same condition, other family members, and I embraced my disability identity. And now I can say that I love and I'm proud of that characteristic, because, you know, what they taught me was the social model of disability. They taught me that I am not the problem, and I should be proud of that part of who I am. And ultimately, that led me on to my charity work, led me on to moving to London, and led me on to where I am now. So that was a really pivotal time for me.